Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Well, Tony, a little later on today, you and I are going to get on an airplane and fly all the way across these great United States of America back in steerage class, which is great for folks who are tall like we are. But, Tony, the good news is that will only be the second most unpleasant experience of the day because, Tony, guess what time it is? It's time for the bold prediction show.
Time for the bold prediction show. I'm just realizing now, do we even know who won last week? Did we decide I won last week? I think is how it happened.
I mean, I I have not gone back and scored it.
No, so long ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you have this one because listen, I can't guarantee you're going to get one later. So we'll let you have this one. Tony, wow. Congratulations on your big win.
I think that's 2 in a row, maybe 3 in a row.
That's probably right. No,
possibly 4 in a row. So Tom, me being the winner of a 4-game winning streak, I'm going to go ahead and let you go first and see if maybe you can get off the schneid.
I'm just glad you're not making me call you the champ because, it's possible that's all right. So I'm going to start with a really fun fact that I saw courtesy of our buddy Marcus Hartman. He talked about the fact that Ohio State is 11-1 in the first road starts for its quarterbacks since I believe it goes back to 2000. I believe was the stat.
Okay.
So that was all that he posted. And I thought, okay, well, I wonder who the one loss is. And you can obviously eliminate a bunch of guys right off the top of your head. Tony, if I just made you guess and don't think too hard, I just want you to guess which quarterback since that time lost his first career road start.
Is this a true road game?
Yes.
Since 2000?
I think it was since 2000. I'm going to encourage you to not think too hard about this one.
If I just say Steve Belisari?
No. We were looking for Joe Bauserman. I mean, really, when I tell you don't think too hard, I'm telling you.
But I thought that was okay, what road game was that?
That was at Miami in 2011. So it was the third game of the season. True road game at Miami. Tony, Joe Bauserman and Braxton Miller in that game, how many passing yards do you think they combined for?
It's about 74.
Oh, Tony, you sweet summer child. 35 yards passing, Tony. 35 yards passing. I believe it is. I pulled up I put it in our game thread on the board. It is one of the most my eyes, the goggles do nothing passing lines of all time. I believe I'm going to have to do this off my head because I will not expose myself to the direct stats again. I believe Bauserman was 2 of 13 for about 14 yards. And Braxton Miller was something like 2 of 4 for 23 yards and had an interception in those 4 passes. So the total, the important number, Tony, the total 35 yards passing. So that's why it is so surprising that Julian Sayin, who you hear people comping to Joe Bauserman all the time,
constantly,
is going to have 36 yards passing within the Buckeyes' first 5 snaps on offense. He will break the Joe Bauserman, Braxton Miller combined record of 35 yards passing in a first true road start within the first 5 snaps of the game on offense. And if you would prefer, we can also put a game clock on this if you'd rather do it with that as opposed to a number of snaps.
No, I like this one. This is a unique one. I don't know that we've had anything like this before. So 36
we don't get to bring up Joe Bauserman as much as we'd like to on this show. So when you have the opportunity, you can't pass it up.
As much as you'd like to, maybe. I like this one, and I also think you've got a pretty good shot here because they do want to open aggressively. It would be nice if I could go back and look to see how often has this happened, and I think fortunately for you, I have X'd out of the Ohio box score, because I do wonder if that's a common thing. But again, this is also, this is a unique environment. This is no guarantee that they won't go 3 and out. So this requires some some actual doing stuff, which is bold enough for you, based on most of your bold predictions don't require much of anything, and other than you having the ability to outlast me in terms of just sitting doing nothing. It's like, well, I'm holding fast, and then I'm like, fine, we'll accept your bold prediction. So 36 yards passing within the first 5 snaps of the game.
Yes, within Ohio State's first 5 snaps on offense. Yes.
Oh, Ohio State's first 5.
Yes. I mean, I don't feel it's particularly likely he's going to do it while Washington has the ball, but listen.
Hey, I'm just
never say never, right?
I'm just looking for clarification. We'll go ahead and accept it just because it is unique. I don't know how bold it is. We'll accept 1 point in bold, and then from now on, we'll start to put up we'll start to study whether this is actually bold or not. So good luck, good job getting one in, sneaking it in there before we actually know if it's really anything. Tom, I've got one here. It's not been done since the Utah Rose Bowl game, if you can believe that. That's a long time ago. And what that is 3 consecutive 300-yard passing games by an Ohio State quarterback. So if I predict Julian Sayin to throw for 300 yards in this game, this would be a 3-game stretch, which would be the first time since C.J. Stroud did it in 2021. He did not do it in 2022. Kyle McCord did not do it. Will Howard did not do it. 3-game stretch, 300 yards passing in every game. Tom, what say you?
I say, had you predicted this 2 games ago, I would have said, you know what? Absolutely. That's a great one. I will give you credit for this one. Once he has 2, then you're just predicting him to do it once, which he's now done 2 games in a row. So I feel like the answer to this question is sort of contained within the setup to this question. Don't you think so, Tony?
Well, then let me change the setup. No,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, well, I could go 300.
A rabbi and a carpenter walk into a bar.
I was thinking I could go like 334 yards, but I want to get away from the yards because it is what it is. He's throwing for some good numbers right now. Instead, what I'll say is something that he has not done this year. Julian Sayin has not done this year. 75% completions, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, he hasn't done it yet this year. That is a good one. Yes, I will say yes to that one. Easy yes. No concerns, no worries, 100%. All right. So now, Tony, Carnell Tate, not once in his career, has had more than 102 yards receiving in a game. He had 102 against Nebraska last year. He had 101 against Ohio this year. So what I was initially going to do was say Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are both over 100 yards receiving in this game. However, what I'm going to say instead is Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are both over 103 yards receiving in this game, because I can guarantee you that it has never happened before in the history of college football.
Well, they're both over 101 last week, or against Ohio. And yes, this is a different opponent. This is going to happen. We saw Washington State throw the ball quite a bit, very well against Washington. So I'm not going to allow 103. I can go to 117 if you want to do that in honor of the great folks. I will remind you,
it's never once in the history of college football happened that Carnell Tate has caught 103 yards of passing in one game. And I will remind you also, we're going all the way back to 1869. Tony, it was 4 years after the Civil War. It's
wow. Okay. How about this?
When you think Rutgers was good at football back then. I mean, it has been a minute. That is how long it's been.
How about this one, Tom? And this may come back to bite me, because this has also never happened. Carnell Tate, at least 103 yards receiving. Jeremiah Smith, under 103 yards receiving.
Here's what I would prefer. Either they're both over 103, and one of them is over 134, or both of them are over 117. How about that?
I think both over 117. How does that sound?
I don't care for it. I feel it's a little disrespectful, but in the interest of the fact that we have a flight that we need to get on, we're going to move on with this, and I'm going to accept it, and we're going to move on.
All right. While we're talking,
117 plus yards. So 117 would.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's stick with the wide receivers here while we're talking about them. Jeremiah Smith has 315 yards receiving this season. 315, a very important state route in Columbus, in honor of the roads and byways and highways of Columbus that go through Columbus. Some combination of Jeremiah Smith catches on Saturday will total 71 yards exactly.
Some combination of Jeremiah Smith catches will total 71 yards exactly. Well,
and that could be north or south.
Now, if they're also in the spirit of making things a little bit difficult, I'm going to allow this. However, because of the construction right now at the 70-71 interchange, if there is also a combination of his catches that adds up to exactly 70 yards, it does not count.
Oh, no, we can't do that because that's a very possible thing. What I will say instead is you can remove a 17-yard catch. Or even a 34-yard catch.
That seems like it's sufficiently complicated that you're going to have to do a bunch of math, and whether you get the point or you're going to be annoyed enough at having to do this much math, and then also we're setting ourselves up for the possibility that you think you've hit this and you've added something up incorrectly, and then I get to tell you no, in fact you have not. And listen, if I could put that on the table for this weekend,
perfect,
100%. All right, so we've established that the wide receivers are going to do basically all of the work this weekend.
Yes.
So that's Tony. Why it is so bold for me to predict someone other than a wide receiver, namely Ohio State tight end Max Clair, to catch a touchdown pass this weekend. Tony, only happened 5 times in the history of college football.
Well, here's the thing. And he caught a touchdown pass against Ohio. That was the first of the year. I think we are still okay with saying a particular tight end catching a touchdown is at least worth one. Others, it might be worth more than one. Max Clair, because is Carnell Tate catching a touchdown still? I don't think that's worth. I mean, he's doing it every week right now, so it can't necessarily be worth one because he's done it in every single game. So, and last year, pretty early on, it no longer became a point for Jeremiah Smith, but that is not where we are with Max Clair. So, again, you're right on the line of not bold at all and almost bold, but this is the one that we all hate when it's like, well, it's only happened once this season. It's not a regular thing yet, and frankly, it wasn't necessarily a regular thing at Purdue either. So,
no, he only caught 4 touchdowns last year, which you think about the number. We talk all the time about the number of catches he had, the number of yards he had, and it's like these eye-popping numbers, and then he had 4 touchdowns last year. So, that feels like that's an important part of this conversation as well.
Here's one that I don't like, and it never works for me, and I should just do something else.
You had me at it never works for me.
Washington has given up 6 sacks this year. It's 3 against Colorado State, 3 against Washington State. Ohio State's season high in sacks is 4. I may have come against Grambling State. I'm going to say the Buckeyes get 5 sacks in this game. DeMond Williams, as we know, the most difficult player in the nation to sack, even though sometimes he gets sacked. Tom, frankly, I wanted to go with 4, but they've already done 4. But as you're showing me, just because they've done something has been done once this season. It can still be bold if they do it again. So now that I've talked, now ignore the part where I said 5 sacks.
See, I see that. I'm going to, before you get there, let me just say, in the spirit of conciliation and the fact that we're probably going to have to share an armrest at some point later today, I'm going to say, yes, Tony, I will allow you to take this for 5 sacks for Ohio State. So there you go. Don't say I've ever been difficult on this show, because obviously that's not true.
How about 4.5? Doesn't work that way.
Sadly does not work that way. So this is one that I looked up, and this is sort of in the same range or the same space as what you were just talking about. And I meant to look this up when I got home. And Tony, did I forget? I sure did. But What I had was Ohio State defensive tackles combined for 3 impact plays. So I think that's, when you, and we're not going to include Caden Curry in the Rushman package if he lines it. So we're gonna define this as the guys listed as defensive tackles on Ohio State's roster. So Caden McDonald and Edric Houston and Tywan Malone and Will Smith. Those the guys who are commonly understood to be defensive tackles combined for 3 impact plays on Saturday.
I like that. And of course, let's always clarify the impact plays. We're talking tackles for loss, sacks, forced fumble, fumble recovery, interception, of course. I think that's about it. So yes, I like that one. That's good. Why would you think this could happen? Well, because he's the 5'10" quarterback, maybe. I don't know why. It's not going to happen.
5'10" quarterback, but Washington is also starting a 17-year-old true freshman at left guard. So that feels like that might be a, you know how BYU has those like 26-year-old guys who've come back from their mission and they're married with 3 kids and they're just, they have the dad strength already on the offensive line. This is the opposite of that. This is someone who got his driver's license literally last year, probably. So, I think that probably factors into this a certain amount. And I think that was sort of the genesis of this. And we'll see. Jonah Coleman is a very tough guy to tackle for a loss. He tends to fall forward, so I think that goes against me a little bit. But if it's going to happen, I think that's going to be a key piece of this.
No, I like that one. Staying in that TFL vein, how about this one, Tom? So Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles have 2.5 tackles for loss on the season. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? I'm going to say they combined for 2.5 in this game, which would be matching their season total. And that's a 3-game season total. So 2.5 tackles for loss in this game for Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, matching their season total through 3 games. That is bold.
That is bold. I am concerned right now about the potential for you to have a couple related ones hit. If Ohio State gets 5 sacks, what are the odds that Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles have maybe a couple of those? So that gets you would potentially hit 2 of them. So they're a little bit related, but I don't feel like they're related enough that I can say, no, this is too similar to something else you had earlier. So I'm going to have to come up with another excuse. So give me a moment to think.
Sure. I'll put some music over this.
Nice elevator music. Yeah. No, I'm not coming up with anything. So I will have to allow this. This is one where I have kind of the same reaction you had to the, one of mine earlier, where it's like, yeah, this is probably going to happen, but also I don't really have grounds to say no. The thing working in my favor, as I cited with my last one, is that Jonah Coleman, the running back, is very difficult to bring down. He does not get tackled for loss very often. He falls forward quite a bit, so that'll probably help. Damon Williams, might be able to get out of the pocket enough to, turn it. We saw this, a week or 2 ago, where I think Arvell Reese had what looked like a sack, and it was like, nope, actually it was no gain. And so you might get one of those. And again, if you miss this by half and you have one of those, it would be extremely funny to me. So, all right, we will say yes. We will say yes to that and move on. All right, Tony. Do you know how many rushes of 20 yards Ohio State has allowed this year, according to our friends at cfbstats.com?
Well, knowing that they have not really played any good running teams, I could look this up and tell you, and then surprise America and be like, oh, wow, he knows all of these things. Instead, what I will do is, since I went and clicked the wrong thing, I'll just say, I don't know, Tom, tell me.
Tony, the number is 0, according to the data that I pulled up while sitting at an ice rink on my phone early this morning. So the cheap answer here is Ohio State gives up a 20-yard run. First time all season. Boy, Tony, that's bold. Tony, that's why I'm going to say not just that. I'm going to say Damon Williams has a 20-yard run for Washington. So it's not even the running back who's going to get 23 carries. It's the quarterback who's going to have 7 or 8, and one of them is going to go for 20 yards for the first time against Ohio State all season long.
Do you know who leads the Big Ten in 20-yard rushes this year?
I'm going to guess it's Washington.
It is DeMond Williams. He has 6 in 3 games.
Wow.
So
remember when you were talking about how Ohio State hadn't played anyone? Wait till you see who Washington has played.
DeMond Williams. Now, the thing is, like, none of them have gone to 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a rush of at least 20 yards, but I need to be able to eliminate a couple of numbers in there.
How about this? A rush of between 17 and 34, because then you eliminate anything longer than that. He breaks a long one, and I'm doing the yes, no. Go down, take a knee.
But he has not.
Would be, again, you have to think about the opportunity for spite here. That's I think a very important part of this conversation and this competition every week.
I promise you, you do not have to remind me to think about spite. Okay, you never have to remind me to think about spite. However, he does not have a carry that has gone into the 34-yard range or even the 31-yard range. So you extending that 30 does nothing for me. And in fact, you're just like, also give me 17, 18, and 19. I appreciate what you're saying. Ohio State has not allowed this to happen yet. Here's the thing. It has to be a designed run, and it can't be a scramble. And we know the difference when we see.
No, because frankly, I think it's more likely that it happens on a scramble where you've got guys maybe turning their backs. So
you want to say it has to be a scramble?
Yes, I will say it has to be a scramble. That's fine. We'll allow that.
Okay.
On a scramble.
Has to scramble for at least 20 yards.
Okay.
All right. Good. My last 1-pointer. So Ohio State has allowed 16 points all year long. That's all they've allowed. Mm-hmm. In this game, Tom, they will allow at least 17 points in a 2-quarter stretch. In a 2-quarter stretch. Okay. Consecutive quarters. Hmm? Do I need more music?
I think we need to limit this in some way.
Okay.
I think we need to take out. I'm going to take out a stretch between. You know what? I'm going to take out the first 5 minutes of the game. So you can have the entire second quarter, the entire third quarter, the entire third quarter, the entire fourth quarter. You can have 10 minutes of the first quarter till halftime, but you cannot have anything. You can't count anything in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Okay. Well, Ohio State will allow 17 points in a 2-quarter stretch minus the first 5 minutes of the game.
But that does not mean you get the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. It just means you get 25 minutes in the first half.
Right. You're only taking away the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, right?
Yes.
All right. Don't care for that. But I understand why you would want something in there. And I don't know why I have to give you something in there, but it just, you know what?
For the same reason I had to have it be a scramble on the last one. Just because.
Yes. Just
Spite,
because.
Tony. You remember our old friend Spite. At some point, someone needs to put together a supercut of I don't know how many years we've been doing this, but all the times that one of us says, I don't care for that. And just, put together like it's going to be 17 minutes and 34 seconds of just that phrase over and over and over again with us just wearing different shirts and different hats and stuff. It is, I think, the untitled, the unspoken subtitle of this show.
I don't care for
Bold
that.
Predictions. I don't care for that.
All right, what's your first 2-pointer?
Here's one you're going to care for, Tony. Ohio State all season long has one passing play of 50-plus yards. So it was the Jeremiah Smith 87-yarder against Graham. One play, passing play of 50-plus yards all season long. Washington, Tony, would you like to guess how many they've allowed of 50-plus yards all season long?
I'm going to say 0.
You are going to be correct because it turns out it's very hard to do that. So that's why it is going to be so shocking to the degree of 2 points, Tony, that Ohio State is going to have 2 plays through the air of 50-plus yards on Saturday.
we need to like put together a database of all of the bold predictions. And has this always been a 2-pointer? At one point, was this a 1-pointer? But again, it's also relative to the season and the quarterbacks and the receivers and who you're facing. So I do not like this. I don't care for this one.
Add it to the reel.
I don't care at all for this one. It is difficult to do. We know there are some secondary concerns that are actually primary for Washington. For the people, and I should say, not the people, because nobody's rooting for you, Tom. Maybe one person. For the person, I will go ahead and allow this a pair of 50-yard receptions. 50 plus. Okay, I got to take somebody away. And don't worry, I'm going to take away 2 players, Will Kazmarek and Marlon Graham.
Listen, you drive a hard bargain. Can I tell you how angry I'm going to be if Marlon Graham has a 50-yard reception on Saturday?
That's why you have to allow this.
I get it. I understand your commitment to the bit. Tony, I don't like it, but I understand, and I respect it.
All right. Well, do you respect it? My 2...
For a certain definition of the word respect, yes.
Right. Yes. My 2-pointer in a similar genre there will be touchdowns for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate will combine for touchdowns of at least 17, 34, 51 yards. I think this is a 3-pointer, but I went 2-pointer because I already had my 3-pointer filled in.
Define this for me. We're saying that they are going to combine for touchdowns of, when you say combine for touchdowns, they're going to have
3 touchdowns, 1 each of.
Okay, got it. So, now I was thinking you meant if you added their touchdown lengths.
No,
together.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So between the two of them, 1 of 17, 1 of 34, and 1 of 51.
And they have not done that yet this year.
Yeah, I think this is a good one because it's certainly possible to see this happening, but it's also, they could, if those 2 guys combined for 3 touchdowns, it would be like, wow, they had a good game. And the odds that you have, could they? Absolutely. I mean, I think we've just established that I'm expecting some long passes in this game, and I think those guys are probably going to be the recipients of some of those long passes. I think I'm going to allow this one for 2 points, yeah.
Because
for 3 points, I probably would have put some kind of a restriction that it has to be between 17 and 34 and between 34 and 51. But for 2 points, I think, if they both have a 50-yarder and then they also have a 20-yarder or something, then yeah, that would still count for you here.
It also almost eliminates the red zone entirely outside of the 17-yarder, where they're not going to. You're not looking for a 10-yarder or something like that, which that's almost to say there will be no scores within 17 yards for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. That's a 1-pointer.
Maybe. I mean,
save it for next week.
You've already save it for next week. All right. So now we're to the 3-pointer. And this one, Tony, I was really trying to come up with something very specific, and landed on this. Ohio State, on its 3rd possession of the game, will have a touchdown pass of exactly 17 or 34 yards.
This is amazing, Tom.
I'm going to, you know what? And I'm going to add 51 in there just because.
Okay.
Just because then we're both rooting for the same thing, and there's the possibility that one of us gets it and the other one doesn't. So
the 3rd possession of the game, Ohio State will score on a touchdown pass of 17 or 34 or 51 yards.
Yes.
I can't say no to that one. Now, what if the 3rd possession is an interception return for Ohio State?
Well, I phrased
that doesn't actually count.
on Ohio State's 3rd possession of the game, they will throw a touchdown pass.
Okay, I like that one. We will accept that one. And now, Tom, you are all done. I have my 3-pointer yet to go. And here's where I am. Here's my 3-pointer time. I like it. We'll see how you feel about it. This season, Washington has allowed 85 yards rushing in a game, 76 yards rushing in a game, 25 yards rushing in a game. For my 3-pointer, Ohio State will have
add those three numbers up and come up with 180 something.
Ohio State will have a running back that rushes for at least 25 yards, a running back that rushes for at least 76 yards, and a running back that rushes for at least 85 yards, matching each of the full game totals that Washington has allowed this season. That's impressive.
This feels much more like a 1.5 pointer. Believe me, if you'd like to trade 3-pointers right now, I could not trade 3-pointers fast enough with you.
No, I like mine.
Yeah, I bet you do, because it's probably 10 times more likely to happen than mine. So yes.
Whose fault is that?
Well, depends. Are we trying to be bold? Well, then it's yours. Okay, great. So we've established that. Now, I'm trying to think about how to modify this to make it at least fit the loosest definitions of bold, because Ohio State is going to play 3 running backs, and to have the third guy get 25 yards feels like almost a given if they're going to have 8 carries apiece. So then it's really just a question of, do 2 of the guys break off a 30-yard run or a 25-yard run or something like that, which then gets you most of the way, where then you can have average 4 yards a carry or so and hit those numbers with relative ease. So I think one of them has to rush for the long run of the day, has to be at least 34 yards.
Oh, I would be so angry if I actually hit this and don't get the 34-yarder. We can.
Now, Bo Jackson ran for almost double a 34-yarder last game, so.
But
I don't think that this makes this suddenly far more difficult. And frankly, even with that addition, I would still gleefully trade 3-pointers with you, as I'm sure you would as well.
Well, yours is a chance thing. Mine is something that has not happened this year. Would you be swayed if I went 85, 76, 34?
I'm going to look up CJ Donaldson's game log, and we're just going to see.
67,
this feels like
45,
something that might
and
have
39.
actually happened already this season for Ohio State. It is not?
Let me see what James Keith
rushed. CJ Donaldson has rushed for at least 25 yards in all 3 games.
It happened against Grambling State.
So you'd like 3 points for something that happened literally 2 games ago.
Against Grambling State.
This is a fun 1-pointer. And I might be okay with it, maybe even for 2 points.
Okay, here we go. A run of 34 yards has to happen.
Say that again.
A run of 34 yards has to happen. Just like you said.
What was your 2-pointer again? Because I feel like I might want to trade back to even with the 34-pointer. Sorry, go ahead.
Touchdowns of 17, 34, and 51 for the 2 receivers. Do you want to switch those?
Even with the addition of the 34 yards, I'm going to make this your 2-pointer and let you make that one your 3-pointer. That is how unbold I feel this is. If we add in something additional, it almost rises to the level of a 2-pointer, which really, Tony, for you to try to be passing that off as a 3-pointer without that qualifier is, I mean, honestly insulting. I'm offended on behalf of the audience.
As long as you're offended, then my job here is done. So, okay, we will switch the 2s and the 3s, and we're almost done. And now Tom, you need to come up with a bonus for me that is not offensive and or evil.
Well, I had one all set to go, and then I checked the weather forecast, because what I was going to say was we will get rained on at some point during our time in Seattle. However, The forecast now looking very, very good for the weekend, and so we might not get rained on in Seattle. So I'm going to have to change that to at least one Ohio State running back rushes for at least 7 yards during the game. Total yardage for the game, not on one run of 7 yards.
Gotcha.
Total yardage for the game, at least one Ohio State running back.
Okay, but it cannot be on a 7-yard carry.
Fine. You drive a hard bargain.
Yes.
You steam a mean ham.
My bonus for you is if we do go somewhere and get Seattle dogs, at least one of us, me being me, is going to be like, do I have to have the cream cheese on the hot dog? But if we want to stick to football, then I will say Julian Sayin will complete at least 2 passes in a row at some point in the game.
All right, I will accept that one, yes. But it does have to be Julian Sayin.
I already took the finger off the checker. So
Sure did.
Wow, boy. I don't think we've ever been burned by our own bonuses, but I don't know. It's not going to happen now. It's impossible. Anyway, so there we go. We are complete. We are done with the bold predictions. Or maybe we're just getting started because I don't care for much of this, and neither should Tom. But hopefully you guys do. If you do, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. There is no thumbs down option. Ha 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 ha. Subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. We would appreciate that. And of course, you can continue to find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Thank you all for tuning in. I will talk to you all later.